Welcome to Otakus Geeks, The Hour. Join Justin, Nadia, Sean, Jerrell, and guest panelists as they discuss the latest news, give reviews, and conduct interviews in all things entertainment. Without further ado, let's start the show.
Welcome back to Otakusgeeks.com. This is The Hour, episode 5. This is complete Arrowverse. We've been building up for this for a while, but we're finally going to talk about the Arrowverse. Nadia is busy, so she'll be back with us on the next episode. But we do have, of course, Sean. How you doing, brother?
Yeah, I'm good.
And we got Jerrell. How you doing, brother?
Yes, sir. I'm doing good, and thank you for everybody who put a like or a heart or whatever on my new artwork from my channel. And everybody that came for me when I put up my Super Mario Brothers review, as well as everybody that's watching my Titans review. The Titans is back, baby, and we're doing some more DC goodness.
Yeah, before you go, you got to give a shout out to Mario Brothers because they were hating on that movie so bad, and that movie is like killing it in the box office.
I have not seen it yet because I'm waiting for the kiddies to get it out of their systems. So I want to watch it, actually enjoy it without the screaming of children.
Then you got to go on a Tuesday at like noon.
Yeah, I'm working, unfortunately. I was thinking about like going at a midnight showing, thinking that there ain't gonna be no kids there. But
them little so-and-sos don't go to sleep.
not this generation.
Yeah, but there's only one thing though I didn't like about the movie, and it's up on my YouTube Shorts. It's on my IG reel, and
it's not the piano song, is it?
No.
Oh, okay, so that song's pretty epic.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I saw about this movie. I purposely avoided spoilers, and I still managed. My sister-in-law sent me this video. She's like, "Yeah, watch this." And I looked at it. I was like, "Browser singing the Peach song." I was like, "I kind of want this track now."
I said, "I'm not gonna say until you watch it. I'm not gonna go any further." Then,
yeah,
I don't want to influence you. Think when you finally do this.
Yeah, I'll probably see it later this week. But this episode is all about the Arrowverse. We've been building this. Said we was going to do an episode before dedicating to talking about the Arrowverse as it's soon coming to its conclusion. We're going to go through a couple of things about the Arrowverse. Of course, we're going to talk Arrow, The Flash, a little bit of Legends tomorrow, a little bit of Supergirl, definitely Black Lightning, Vixen, Superman, how it is and kind of isn't the Arrowverse anymore. And of course, I finally saw Gotham Knights, so stay tuned for my thoughts on that.
Hold on, can I say one thing though?
Yes.
Please don't put that in the Arrowverse. Like that is not in any.
No, I know.
That is no association.
That is no association.
It's on the CW. It's Arrowverse, by the way.
I had to get this off my chest of the brilliance that is Gotham Knights. But it is brilliant. But let's kick this off with. First, I want to give Arrowverse its flowers. And one of the things I definitely wanted to do is talk about first about Arrow. I think, Jerrell, you either froze or something because you're smiling like a Cheshire cat. Like your thing is froze on your feed. But hopefully I'll send him a text message. Hopefully he'll get back here. But yeah, I wanted to talk a little bit about the Arrowverse, the impact of the Arrowverse, and what the Arrowverse has done for the superhero genre in regards to TV. And, I've always said, yeah, Jerrell's gone, okay. So I've always said that the Arrowverse was kind of, it did something that Marvel did for movies, Sean, that it did what Marvel did for the movies, they did for TV. Like they were able to build a universe and not only do crossover work, but also are able to do it effectively. And so, what were your thoughts? I know when you first saw Arrow. What were your thoughts when you first saw Arrow?
Well, I didn't watch Arrow season 1 when it came out because I was, trying to be a comic book purist. Like, I didn't like. I think by the time I really got to looking into Arrow, they were up to like I think episode 5 where they did the Royal Flush Gang, and then I think I've said this before on a previous podcast, like I was just like, yo, listen, when I want to see my live action superhero movies. I want them to like kind of sort of follow the comic books. And one of the things that I thought was kind of crazy about it was the Royal Flush Gang was actually like this gang of mercenaries, and I was just like, oh, this shit is stupid. And like I said, there was a local comic book vendor I used to go to out by me, and he was like, he kind of broke it down. He was like, you got to think about it. They're trying to steep this series in like realism, and you can't expect them to have a bunch of guys flying around on cards because then it looks a little too cartoonish, and people are like, hey, I'm not messing with this. I'm not dealing with this nonsense. You know, nah, this is not, yeah, it is real. Like this is not gonna be something we're gonna deal with. And I don't think I still didn't get into it. I think it was like later. You were like, hey, yo, you gotta check out Arrow. This is really good. And I actually started watching Arrow on Netflix. I think that's the first year the Netflix actually, before CW really had any like streaming service or anything else, they had it on Netflix, and I sat down and I watched the entire first season on Netflix. Actually, I think they were in the middle of the second season before I really started watching it, and then I was just like, "Oh, this isn't bad. This is pretty good." You know what? I'm going to give it a chance to start watching some of the back episodes on demand, and I got caught up on season 2, and I thought it was done pretty well. They were started to introduce more and more characters that I knew, and I kind of got into it. And by the time I really got into Arrow season 2, was about Arrow season 3 when they introduced the Flash.
Yeah.
And
No, that was actually
two. They introduced the Flash.
His show came in season 3, but he was introduced in season 2.
Yeah, he was a cameo.
So I was like, okay, this is not bad. And I thought they did such a really good job with the Flash on his series that I thought, okay, looks like CW is really stepping up with what they're doing. And I thought it was done very well. Don't get me wrong, I think we saw the early leaked version of Flash. And I thought it was good. I thought the special effects were just like absolute trash, but like the first episode was still done very well. And I think there was a point where Arrow and the Flash, each episode was getting better and better as it went on. And I was just like, listen, this is now my thing on Tuesdays. Like I had to sit down. And I think around that time, I think Mondays I was watching How I Met Your Mother.
Yeah.
And there were like other shows that were coming out. And I was just like, okay, I'm really into this. And I'm going to say, honestly, around season 5 of Flash, when it started to get into that Olicity thing, and season 5 of Arrow, and kind of like I was still into the Flash. I'm gonna say I was still going strong with the Flash, but Arrow started to fall off for me. And by then, I think they started introducing.
By when?
I think about season 5 of Arrow and season, was it 2 or 3?
You mean the Damien Dark?
No, Damien Dark was season 4.
Yeah, I mean like
Prometheus
was Prometheus was a good season.
Yeah, that's why I was asking. Are you sure you're talking about the right season?
Yeah, it's like so. It's like it started falling off, and I think I wasn't as into it, and I started missing episodes, but I did catch up on Netflix with Arrow at that point. Then I was like, okay, this is pretty good. I think my fatigue was I just was not into. I wasn't into it like I was, but I was just into the Flash. And I think they introduced Legends of Tomorrow, which I was sour on Legends of Tomorrow from like season 1. I thought it was okay, but then I thought it was like too much BS with it. There's a point where Arrow just really started falling off, and there's a point where the Flash started falling off, because I was just like they're not. I felt like they started dialing it in after a while, and they didn't really have any. People were dying, they were coming back. It was just like, yo, man, just let people die. Stop with this nonsense, and like give me the stories that you got. I think I returned back to both shows during the first Crisis thing, where I got to see every single DC superhero, because at that point, like Supergirl was out, Black Lightning. I mean, Jerrell and I, we had hilarious conversations about the first season of Black Lightning, where I think season 1 of 2 in Black Lightning were probably the best seasons that ever came out. After a while, I even fell off on that. Overall, because I don't want to like monopolize everything. Overall, I think the CW was like a good 75 to 80% like thumbs up for me. Like there were just seasons where they start off strong and then they just like somebody's just like, they'll love everything we put out there and they just dial it in and I'm not with it. Like you got to keep, I mean, even the very final season of Arrow, I thought was okay, but then I thought it like ended so weak. Like I just wasn't into that ending they gave us. I was just like, this is
with him being dead.
Yeah, but
when he became Spectre during the crisis, we'll get to Crisis in a bit.
Yeah,
but,
it became bullshit for me, and I was just like, I don't. I think that's what started my downfall of not caring about what the CW was doing anymore.
Before I pass this to Jerrell, because just to let you know, what we were talking about was the first time we watched Arrow, or like Sean was telling the first time he was introduced to Arrow. So I'm gonna pass it to you in a second. But I just want to say this real quick. I think a lot of it with a lot of the comic book readers, the issue with the Arrowverse that they had was changing lore. And I mean, I love the Arrow show, but my biggest gripe with the Arrow show was the treatment of Laurel and the fact that she wasn't the main love interest of Ollie. It was Felicity. And for me, that was
a fan grab.
Yeah, and it's just
the fans got behind her, so they decided to go in that direction.
Which, okay, but at the same time, it's like it's Canary. That is a key component right here. You just like doing it because a couple of fangirls was like shipping.
See, but then what made it worse they did all that, but then they put Felicity in a situation where people started to hate her.
Yes.
Because they were just like, the true comic book fans are upset about this. But it's like you don't now throw Felicity under the bus, unlike you said, unless you plan on putting Oliver and Laurel together.
Yeah. And then by then they made Laurel just like, you had way too many black canaries at that point. And it was just like
did it make it like White Canary? Like it was like, come on.
I mean, that was Sarah, but I like what they did with Laurel, because when they tried
at the end, not to cut you off, didn't they have another black canary? It was another chick, right?
Well, Dinah,
yeah,
Dinah Drake. Dinah Drake came in later, but Laurel specifically. I mean, the biggest joke that always went around with the Laurel character, like in season 3, when she did her Black Canary training from Ted Grant, who was Wildcat, which was very comic book accurate. That was good. A lot of people said that she didn't put in enough time and enough training to earn that Black Canary persona. But the show did follow. They did actually like follow suit to that, because when she went out the first few times, she got her ass kicked.
Yeah.
Like there was a scene where she ended up in the hospital because she tried to stop crying, but she got beat up. But then when they took on Damien Dark and Damien Dark killed her, they did keep her off of TV for the second half of season 4 and for the first half of season 5. But on The Flash, they did that episode where Zoom had opened up the portal to Earth 2, and then Laurel from Earth 2 came over, and Laurel from Earth 2 was exactly how everybody wanted the Black Canary Laurel Lance character to be anyway. So since they brought her over from Earth 2, they just left her here, and they said, well, to hell, you'll just replace the Laurel that nobody liked, or the one where they felt that they failed the character, so they used Earth 2 to redeem the character. But in the comic, wasn't Laurel Lance from Earth 2 anyway?
No, there was a Black Canary from Earth
1.
Each Earth had their own
canaries.
But she was the original.
But that was a good switch, because they could have easily just brought over her character on The Flash, and then we just never saw her again. The fact that they tied it in, because they had her locked up in the pipeline. Like an entire year later, they were just, somebody was probably like, hey, like Black Canary's still in the pipeline, and then they let her out and she went to Star City.
So Jerrell, when did you get introduced to the Arrowverse?
Halfway. I actually is kind of mirrors what Sean said, because I was I was done with DC, because they had just canceled Young Justice, and I never watched Smallville, and then after they canceled Young Justice, and then they canceled like Justice League and everything, like I was like visibly tight, and I was just like, you know what, I'm done with this. But Arrow came out, I was like, well, screw this. I'm not giving this a shot. I'm not giving it a shot. But then when Barry Allen showed up, that's when, my brother Evan, he was like, yo, you should really watch it. So like Sean said, like I watched season 1 on Netflix and I just fell in love. Yeah, like I watched season 1 on Netflix, and then I watched the first half of season 2. Like I found it online, and but then like after that, like I was hooked. Like Arrow reignited my superhero isms, But then to have the Flash come in, like when the Flash first came out, honestly, I was like, oh, so here's their Marvel show. Because Arrow was like gritty, it was grounded, it was dark all the time. He was killing people. Yeah, he was killing. I was just like, okay, so they need something lighthearted for the children. And then when I saw Iris West, I was like, okay, I gotta watch me some Flash. But then I fell in love with the Flash. But I like the fact that they kept both shows together. Like there were things that happened on the Flash that affected Arrow and vice versa. Characters were crossing over, like back and forth, and then like the bigger world started opening. I mean, the Supergirl thing. I was excited. I was excited for Supergirl, and I was even happier when they moved her to the CW, because originally they didn't want that to happen. The thing, and the funny thing about Legends of Tomorrow, and I'm gonna say this, I like Legends of Tomorrow. I don't have a problem with Legends of Tomorrow. I liked it when Kid Flash was on. I liked when Constantine was on. I liked Astra. I liked Spooner.
That was the only season I actually liked was the Constantine.
Well, I told you you'd probably like it when you watched the Constantine. But honestly, I always felt Legends of Tomorrow should have been the B-list Justice League show, because I believe that's when they did the Alien crossover, when with the Alien invasion. That's when Barry had revealed the Hall of Justice, like the Starlab facility. I always felt Legends of Tomorrow should have been a show where all the heroes that couldn't fit on other shows, y'all are just on this show. You're at Justice League headquarters and you're fighting crime outside of the cities that Supergirl, Arrow, Flash, Black Lightning protect, because the main characters protect their city. But what happens with the rest of the world? Like if you're a hero, like if you're a hero who didn't have a city, that should have been the team up show for Legends of Tomorrow. But I never had a problem with the time travel aspect of it. But once you killed Rip Hunter, you kind of had to go away from the time travel, and then they replaced time travel with magic, and then the show just kind of like it turned into something different. But
I just thought it was just a show of they just kept moving characters in and out. Like if the character didn't work on a certain show, they just moved.
Yeah, they put on.
And then it was like it just didn't work. Like I didn't understand. Like
with I have a problem with that, honestly.
Like with Captain Cold and what was this?
Heat Wave.
They didn't. It's not that they didn't fit. They were good on the show, but they didn't fit as heroes. And that was one of the problems I had. Like they didn't fit as heroes. They might fit better as an anti-hero. They still did their thing. They still did their criminal shit here and there, but they didn't fit as heroes. I think the actors were wasted on that. And I think Legends of Tomorrow just was like, it was just bad. And I kind of felt like they gave Legends so many seasons to just shit on it for it to be terrible. But then you take Black Lightning, which had 2 strong opening seasons, and then the drama happens, which I'm not blaming them for. Like the drama with the production and everything happens, and then you just give up on the show after 4 seasons. And I'm like, when are you gonna cut this cancer, Legends of Tomorrow, out of your thing? Like Black Lightning actually has storylines that are working. Like this, like every time, like I said, except for the Constantine episode, and I think the one before that with Damien Dark, that was okay, but it was like to me, Legends of Tomorrow should have ended at like season 5. And then what season did it finally end at? Like what?
Well, it ended at 7. It ended at 7. And see, Damien Dark is a perfect example of a character not working on one show, but then being perfect for another. Because one of the dark, and again, like Arrow is my number 1 favorite TV show, but one of the dark spots on Arrow, and I can understand why people say what they say about it, Nadia specifically, is that when they introduce like Damien Dark in season 4, having a magical villain on Arrow doesn't work because there were too many episodes where you get to a point where you're just like, well, damn, there's nothing you can do with this dude because Oliver Queen can't combat magic. And then he had to go get Vixen and he had to go look for magical friends. He brought in cons. He was like asking for too much help from magical people to take down this one dude, you know. And
that was fine. Like, you know, you're supposed to do that. Like,
no, but Arrow, but that's not Arrow, you know, like Arrow.
I mean, but that is Arrow. If
Arrow.
you've ever watched it if you've ever read, and see, that's the kind of problem I have with everybody.
But I'm talking about the TV show. Like everybody got used to the show being a certain way.
But that's what I mean. The show is based off a comic book, so you can't go, okay, well, he can't go get magical characters in the comic book. What would happen? The same way the comic book was, where he was just in his city doing the same thing Batman was. What, you think Batman, when he got into an issue, even though he probably already know what to do, like, they went and got friends that, like, okay, you know more about magic and doing it. I think they overdid that series with Damien Dark. They kind of made him like, yo, bro, like they should have introduced somebody magical the season prior to it to kind of get you ready.
Well, they did. They used Rush. They used Raish. They brought in Raish Al Ghul.
Yeah, and that was probably the number one complaint I had with the Arrowverse. Was
a lot of people
using the Batman villains for Arrows.
Yeah, I mean, people just had a problem because Raish was a Batman villain. It's like they didn't have a problem with Raish specifically. It was just like, oh yeah, use a Batman villain.
And I mean, but it was Slade. Slade was not an Arrow, like, to me, an Arrow villain. And you have Arrow villains that are on that level.
Like they finally did the long. Well, they kind of botched it, but they did do the Longbow Hunters towards the end of I think it was season 7.
Yeah,
6 or 7 they did the Longbow Hunters, but it was just like at the same time, Arrow was built off the success of the Nolan franchise. So, you know, obviously they took the inspiration from the Dark Knight. They chose Arrow to make it a grittier, obviously, because DC still to this day has this Batman clause. I mean, it might be changing because honestly the Penguin's getting his damn show. But it's like they have this Batman clause where the CW, and this is where a lot of we could talk about this real quick. A lot of Arrow's planned storylines was ruined because DC had these no character clause. Like there was a point where they were going to do a Suicide Squad, and they had their Harley Quinn because they brought Tara Reid to do the voiceover work. You had Harley Quinn. You had I think you had, what's his name, Michael Jai White as Bronze Tiger. So they were building up their Suicide Squad, and you had Deathstroke. They were getting ready, and then DC was like, nope, can't use it because we got this Will Smith movie coming out, Suicide Squad. They gotta have their movie, and now you can't use this. So that plan got scrapped. Then they had the Justice League of America for Legends of Tomorrow. I was mad hype at the end of the first season. I was like, all right, cool, they're gonna do JLA, and then what happens with Arrow Man? Did he die or some shit? Or then it's just like boom. Second episode. First episode of the second season. That plan gets dropped. I was like, what the fuck? Like they couldn't use characters that they had set up. And another problem, which I think hampered the success, was the fact that actors weren't staying. And
the Canada thing.
The Canada thing was really, really hurtful. Like it really hurt with a lot of stories too, because these people live in America. Someone was not willing to relocate to Vancouver permanently to get the job done. But like, you know,
that's part of the reason why Legends of Tomorrow was a revolving door of characters.
Yeah, because
people were jumping in, tagging out, tagging out.
Yeah. I mean, because you had Vixen. Like I was hyped when the Vixen cartoon came out because we forget that Vixen's part of the Arrowverse, and I was hoping they would have continued that trend of it's something James Gunn took blueprint to because he's doing it for the DCU now. Is because with the forgot the cartoon he's doing. But yeah, he's like Arrowverse did Vixen. She had a little movie, her little shorts. You got Stephen Amell, you got Grant Gustin to provide the voice, and then the same actress translated over to live action. And I was hoping they was going to do more of that, but we didn't get that, and it was just like, damn, like they just like it's like.
Well, you should also point out that the reason why everything is in Canada, because remember the whole debacle with Supergirl was that it's too expensive to film that stuff here. In Canada, it's they can get more bang for their buck.
Yeah.
So they can just film it over there, do more with, the characters, hire more stuff, do everything over there. So that's what, cheaper to do it there than it is to do it in the US. So, I kind of understand. Yeah, you got the fatigue of going back and forth to Canada, but your show thrives because they're in Canada.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the that's how we lost Ruby Rose. Like she left because she didn't want to live in Canada. But I don't consider that a bad thing because then we got Ryan Wilder, and honestly, I liked her better. I liked Ryan Wilder better as a character. But the because her mission was different. Because since Ryan was poor and she was black, and she she just took on the mantle.
I'm sorry, I can't go with that fan fiction, bro.
Of Batgirl. They said that was the downfall of Batgirl when they changed.
You mean Batwoman?
Batwoman, yeah.
They said that was the downfall of the show.
Because I agree with Sean. Yeah, no, sorry, Sean, you can go ahead. Sorry about that.
I was just saying, I only watched a few episodes of Batgirl. I'll be honest, like Ruby Rose's character wasn't thrilling me from the get-go. I think Jerrell froze again. It wasn't thrilling me from the get-go. But they after they switched the mantle and swapped out for a black girl, like they was just like it just like the show was already on a downfall, and they just put it into a death dive right after that because it just didn't hold up anymore. It just seemed like, okay, well, this is what you guys are gonna put together. Like, okay, I think they didn't put too much into the show.
And for me, after Jerrell did went out. So I mean, for me with Batwoman, like I watched the first season, and
it was okay.
It was okay, but I think, and I'm not trying to make this like a CW. Oh my God, what was wrong with the Arrowverse? Because I actually want to celebrate the Arrowverse eventually. Down the line, we're going to talk about the good points, but a lot of the issues I had with the Arrowverse was the writing of these shows. And unfortunately, a lot of these people who were hired to write the shows were not, I'm not saying they weren't comic fans, but they didn't really understand the source material. And the fact that you just couldn't just and the crazy part is they introduced Ryan Wilder only to recast Ruby Rose later on in the season. So it was like, why didn't you just recast her? Make it like you're already introduced a multiverse. Yeah. Make it, kill this Batwoman off, bring a Earth 2 woman's Batwoman to that universe, and continue the freaking story. Like it didn't make sense to me to introduce a brand new fan fiction character. And I'm not gonna say, let's keep it real, why this type of stuff was introduced, but I just felt like the writing of that show, the way it was marketed, it turned off a lot of people, and you kind of start to alienate core audiences. But I mean, I just felt like with Batwoman, like I think they should have just, the fact that they recast Ruby Rose later on in the season, they should have just recast it from the get-go and then just continue the story. But we got what we got. But I mean,
I agree with that. I mean, I agree because like if you're gonna recast her, then just keep her. But yeah. I mean, but like I said before, I didn't think it was necessary, but I didn't have a problem with getting a new person to wear the mantle only because her motivations for putting on the costume, it made me sit and be like, well, I can actually get behind this.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was just poorly written. That's what I didn't have a problem with her being switched or even the race being switched. I think two things bothered me about it. One, at that time we were on this pandering agenda to say, okay, like there was no, I'm trying to be PC about it. Like,
there was no black woman up in there.
Yeah, I was tired of every time there's a character or there's an opening for a character, it's like, let's make them black or let's make them Hispanic. Let's make them a marginalized race so that we can get those viewers in, and you don't write a good story behind it to keep it interested. It's just like you just walking in like, You see, we have minority characters. No, like I'd rather you, and I've said this about everything, whether it's the person's sexual preference or whatever. Don't take a character that's known and then do it to pander to one specific group so that you can get that in there. Create a new character. Because I can get behind characters created more than I can get behind you taking a character. And that's not to say you can't take a character already created and like go into the multiverse and bring a different version of that character in. Just make the writing good for it. Don't just pile it in. Don't just throw that character in there. And I'll tell you where I get this from, and that stems from Titans. Like, don't throw a character in, because now you're making that character, not only is that character not comic book accurate, that was somebody else's vision of what they thought the character should be like, and your vision sucks.
Are we talking about Tim Drake, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, who are we talking about?
I knew we was talking about Tim Drake, but I don't think Sean wanted to say it.
No, because the thing is, like, I like Tim Drake as a character, but this character is more whiny than he is a character. Like, and don't get me wrong, like anybody will tell you, I like Titans. Like when I went to see it the first season, I shitted on the show the first 2 episodes until they introduced the nuclear family, and then Titans just took off from there. It was just like, somebody must have heard us in the audience and said, "Hey, you got to get the hell out of here. This writing is terrible," or the writing was good and we just needed to be a little more patient to let it unfold. But when it unfolded, it took off. And I will say, like, it has not disappointed me. And even if it seems to drag, it doesn't disappoint me as far as the way the story goes. Because even when Titans just came back now, season 2 episode 7 dragged for me. But episode 8, I'm like, yo, these dudes is really getting into like what they really have to do, and it brings it back, and that's why I like it. But the Tim Drake character, they're not training him; they're just pandering, and he's whiny. He's not even training to be Robin. That's why when I see the ups of his suit, I'm like, why? When does he spend time training?
He hasn't earned that.
Yeah, he spent 7 episodes worried about his love life.
Yeah,
like,
and nobody cared about that.
Yeah, it's not, and it's not like I have a problem with it. It's just that he just whines about it. Like the episode 7, he spent the last episode like, "Oh, do you like me? Oh, I'm sorry that this happened." No, bro, you're on a mission to find your peoples. Like,
it's funny you said. Sorry, Coach Joe. It's funny you say that because I did my review for episode 7 of Titans. It's on my YouTube channel, and I did say that because once they found out that the show was going to end after they finished this season, obviously they got to reshuffle some things, they got to change things, but other stuff was already shot before they got that news. And I had said in the review that once you found out the news that you weren't going to get a continuing season, this was going to be the final season, certain storylines either need to go or you got to wrap that shit up. So I'm just like, we didn't need the Tim Drake love drama. Mm-hmm. Like you could have cut that shit because it's like we're on a time clock now.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like we don't have all time. We don't have all the time in the world to do the Tim Drake love storyline because he'll be back next season. There is no next season. Get the either put them 2 together, or split them apart, and let's just move on. Because honestly, we could have plugged in Beast Boy stuff with all that Tim Drake shit.
Yeah, like
the Tim Drake thing should have been one scene. It should have been one scene.
It could have been one episode. And
I'm talking about like the love aspect of it, like the love interest aspect of episode 7. He had like 7 or 8 scenes. All that shit needed was one scene. And you could have plugged the rest in with finding out what Gar was doing when he disappeared. Because out of the 2 episodes that they gave us, guess who's the one character who's not in either episode?
Gar. And we're all wondering what he had. Like, what is he saved everybody? What is he doing?
Yeah. Because if they would have substituted a lot of the Tim stuff with Gar stuff, that now would have given them more time to do new stuff to close out the season.
And even the scene when they're arguing in the radio station, and he was like, "I don't believe in hunches," and I'm like, "This is just stupid."
Yeah, because
just go do what you want to do, then. Like,
because like, what's the point of getting into an argument and him walking out if he's going to turn around and come back in the very next scene? If you were going to come back in the same episode, there was no reason to leave. They should have just had it where he just stayed the whole time and just cut out the argument.
to show their angst, that they're two different viewpoints on fighting crime. No, when are we going to get this dude training to be
to actually fight crime?
Yeah, and then the thing is, like, even in comic book accurate, Tim Drake is actually a very good detective. Like, I don't see him detecting anything. And he was a decent fighter.
Well, he did last season.
Yeah, and all I see him doing is like, I'm finally coming into my own and I'm in love. Like, come on, bro. Like,
he did
like, just like make this like a side story. Like, you're not representing, you're pandering. Like, you're just making sure that this is the representation you want to see. And I don't have a problem with it. It's just that, like, I feel like they're gonna go the rest of the season where he never really learns how to fight, and then all of a sudden, the last episode, he has a suit on and he's doing all these flips.
And now all of a sudden, he's got talent.
Where is this coming from? Like,
the Laurel Ant syndrome.
Yeah, like when did he get time to train for this? Like, what episodes are we missing that he
was training in the sheets? That's how he got the training.
Like, come on, bro.
Well, like I said,
some people are gonna be like, "Oh, why you hate?" I don't hate it. Like, I just wish they would move on.
No, they say, but my whole thing is we're on the clock now, so we don't got time for this.
Yeah.
Like
you completely.
Like if Titans was gonna go on for another 4 or 5 years, then fine. But it's like we ain't got time for this now. Chop chop. It's like that's my problem with the Flash season 5. It's like they gave us a 5-arc, Red Death saga. Okay, fine. You gave us a villain. I love Batwoman. I ain't got a problem with Batwoman. I ain't have a problem with the Red Death. The final 5 episodes, we're getting a crossover. You're bringing back the Gold Oliver Queen. I ain't got a problem with that. I'm actually looking forward to that. But then you gave us 3 weird episodes in the middle.
Bro, those 3 episodes, I'm like, this is the last season.
It felt like more.
You would think they would be like, hello, this is the last season. Let us keep this shit condensed. No fillers. Let's keep hitting them. But it looks like they're trying to do.
I don't care about your vision. You know what I'm saying? I don't care about your vision or artistic thoughts that you want to do this. Let's move this along. Like, this needs to be wow. Every episode needs to be wow. This is
the end of the fucking Arrowverse, and you're giving me filler episodes? Fuck you. Are you serious right now?
And I like Dreamer as a character. Like, I'm a fan of the Dreamer character. But if you're gonna bring her in, this better tie into something.
For a whole episode, though,
I'm never gonna complain about having a whole episode with Iris in it. But for the love of God, I was just like, what does this have to do with the overall story arc of the season?
I feel like the writers watch too much One Piece and Naruto. Like 50 episodes of filler before you get to the actual thing.
I know this is the end of the Arrowverse, but we gotta close some books and we gotta close some chapters for characters that didn't get their shine. Let's use the Flash. Let's give Dreamer. Let's get Batwoman. Let's give her closer. I was like, y'all might as well bring back Lightning. Get Black Lightning back. Give him his episode. Like,
I hope so. Like, I hope he pops up in one of the final 5. And again, I don't have a problem with that either, because the Arrowverse was unjustly canceled. So it's not like these shows just naturally ended. So if they want to use the Flash to kind of like give everybody an opportunity to say goodbye to certain characters, that's fine. But there has to be a better way to do it other than, hey, Iris is pregnant, Dreamer showed up, and now they're stuck in a nightmare. And I was just like, well, yeah, just came off a Red Death. What the hell does this have to do with the Red Death? Like, it's just like tied into something bigger. And then when they said like, oh, on the 26th, Oliver Queen's coming back because there's a 5-episode event, you should have just made it an 8-episode event and just use Dreamer in that whole thing. Bring Black Lightning back, like in that whole thing. And, and shit, I hope Naomi pop up because her show got a raw deal. I was getting into that, and she only got 1 season before.
Actually, I'm gonna say this: it didn't get a raw deal. The writers were so bad, like they were losing viewers every week after that show.
I actually liked the show because she was a different type of hero. Like she was like everybody. She wasn't the type of hero that was hiding. Like everybody knew she had powers. It's like everybody knew more about her power than she did.
I don't think it was the show. I think it was the writing that was so bad that they couldn't keep justifying. I think every week they were losing 20,000 viewers every single week.
You want to speak bad writing? Okay, you gotta watch Gotham Knights, folks. This show is fucking awesome. Like, yo, this show is so epic, like in scale. Like, this is the best thing CW has produced. I have never watched a show
I was just
laugh,
ironically because I've heard this show is dog shit,
bro.
Like,
I've never laughed so hard at a pure like the show broke me. Like, just it's so bad. I'm just laughing at every scene. Like episode 1, I don't care for spoilers. For some god reason, they have Batman keep Joe Chill's gun locked in the safe. You have quote unquote Joker's daughter, who's named Dwayne Dent, which is Harvey Dent's daughter in the comics.
Yeah, that'll make sense.
Yeah, Dwayne Dent as the Joker's claiming to be Joker's daughter. You got this new guy who just and the way they explain this kid, which you know is probably a Robin, but DC's no character clause probably interferes. Like, nah, you can't use any Robins with this show. So they created some dude, and it was like, oh, Bruce Wayne went to the orphanage and just chose an orphan.
Yeah, just pick some random kid.
Some random orphan.
I swear they make Bruce sound like such a pedophile. Like,
bro, you have no idea.
Just picking children at random. Like, yo, yeah, that kid. I like the way he
See,
looks.
here's the awesome thing. This rando that he adopted, he's not Robin because the random black girl who's in this TV show, she actually is Robin.
She's Carrie Kelly from the Dark Knight Returns.
Yeah, because you know Hollywood has a problem with like redheads, so they always swap out redheads for black people.
Yes.
so they do. It's like
look at Batwoman.
Yeah, I mean Batwoman, the entire West family on the Flash. Like Hollywood has this weird thing about swapping out redheaded white people for black people.
You have to say it correctly. Hollywood has a problem.
Gingers.
Yes.
Yeah,
they have souls.
Yeah, they have a ginger problem, but then I'm like, why every time you replace a ginger, you replace it with a black person? like there's something wrong there. But the random black girl in the TV show, she's Robin, and she's like the smallest, like weakest person out of all of them, but she has all the knowledge of
they have Stephanie Brown like being a I'm not saying a thought, but she's just very Stephanie Brown's up in there.
But the biggest,
that's like, kind of another thing that I kind of have a problem with the CW with. Like, why do you guys keep making like really strong female characters like the thoughts of the group? Like, if ever taking a chick and just making her overly sexualized. And I know this sounds weird. This sounds weird coming from a guy to say like
Thunder.
Like, I don't mind if a girl has her, like, oh, okay, she's confident in herself. But y'all really be thotting these chicks out like as soon as they get on screen. It's like, yo, it's like, okay, let's pander to the 14-year-old boy. Wow. Like we want to keep them interested. So we have this girl like overly sexualized, and that's it. Like, come on, bro. Like, let her character be what it is, man. Like, y'all like do that to Felicity. Y'all just really taking characters like.
I mean, they had her in like tight short dresses like every episode. She was like the hot nerd. I mean, but the biggest problem with Gotham Knights that I have, and I told Justin this before, I cringe every single time a conversation about Bruce Wayne comes up, and this rando kid is like, I can't believe my dad didn't tell me he was Batman. I'm like, you're not his fucking child. like that's it. Like every time he calls him my dad, it makes me want to pull my hair out. And then this, and like you were saying, they probably, because to say like, oh, Bruce Wayne was my father. No, he actually has kids. He has accurate kids that we know that you could have. He has an actual son, but now we know James Gunn ain't gonna let him out of his sight. So you could have used anybody. Hell, the show could have been about the black girl who was the Robin, but to make up some random kid when you know for a fact Bruce Wayne actually doesn't have children outside of Damian Wayne, for this rando teen to be like, he's my father, it's almost like, how dare you?
Well, I mean,
you've earned nothing.
Yeah, they have elsewhere stories where Bruce has actually had kids, like other than Damian. But I mean, if you're not gonna bring that into it, because the thing is, like, there are stories where Barry's kids have been different, and I can't get with that, but I agree completely. Like, stop bringing me these kids in there. Like, Bruce Wayne was my daddy, and I didn't know he was Batman, and I have a lineage to stand up to. Like, nobody asked you to put the cowl on and go out there and fight crime. Like
Like,
And then we don't.
nothing.
And then we don't reference any of his actual quote unquote known children. I mean, I don't count Dick because he's more like an older brother. But I'm like, we don't reference Tim. We never reference Barbara because she's ginger. Like Barbara never comes. Like, where's everyone? And that's another thing. I'm tired of them doing. Like, at least on Batwoman, they had multiple episodes where the Bruce Wayne character showed up.
Yeah.
They weren't going to pretend like he didn't exist. You know what I'm saying? Like, Lucius Fox had conversations where he was like, yo, when my dad died, Bruce took off, and the two of them talked. Like, he was taking over like Wayne Enterprises. Like, there were still tie-ins. These people act like Dick Grayson doesn't even exist. Like there was never oh my God, they killed Bruce Wayne. Like, was Dick not at the funeral? Was Barbara not at the funeral?
Bro, they read the script where it said, this room looks like a museum had sex on a bank, and it was like, yo, you can't reference nobody.
Yeah,
and the sad thing is, in the comic book, Damian sees like Tim, Dick Grayson, and even Jason Todd as his older brothers. Like, when they had like there was a story arc with just the Robins where somebody was hunting them down. Like, Dick Grayson had to bring them together to sit down and have like a serious conversation with them about how the family is. Like, they don't see each other as, like, they know they're not blood, but they just see each other as siblings. Like, Dick Grayson is the head of the family because he's the oldest, and then you have like Jason Todd is the black sheep. Like, he's a kid that they can't keep out of jail. And you know what I'm saying? And Tim Drake is just like the weird middle child that everybody only pays attention to when he acts out. And Damian is like the spoiled young one. But they all have a good dynamic. And I hate the fact that they keep treating it as if, like, Damian don't exist. Sometimes they treat Dick like he don't exist. They treat Tim like he don't exist, and they damn sure everybody's been screaming to see Jason Todd, and they treat Jason Todd like, yeah, there was a dead Robin somewhere around here, but like, we have no idea where he's at, or what was his name again? Like, yeah, didn't somebody resurrect him and ain't he dead again? Like, come on. Like,
I mean, the video game did it perfectly. If you were going to do a Gotham Knights television series, it's like, just watch the video game. I mean, I never bought into the idea of being able to kill Bruce Wayne, but if you go and kill Bruce Wayne and have his minions like take over the mantle, that's how you do it. You don't come up like, honestly, the entire cast of Gotham Knights looks like they belong on Naomi or Stargirl.
Here's the thing, even
like, it looks like the cast of Stargirl.
Titan did a better job at a dream sequence of killing Bruce Wayne off.
Yeah.
And just having him out there. That was a better explanation of Bruce dying. Like, Bruce finally snapped. He got tired of the Joker killing people. He just went there and just started running up all his ops. And like, put them in the ground like, yo, time for y'all to go see God. You know what I'm saying? And then he went too far. But like, nowadays, like, Bruce is dead. Oh, here's some kids. Let's get some kids.
Yeah, like, here's some kids. Like, here's some random kids.
I think Justin brought up a good point. They should have made this We Are Robin.
That's what I was about to say. They should have just made. I texted that to Jerrell earlier. I was like, yo, after watching this, why didn't they just do a We Are Robin? We just get these random kids, just have them be inspired by Robin. You can still have Batman is dead, and these Robins take over to protect the city. And then you just bring a member of the Bat family to come, like one of the Robins come. You can have Nightwing come back and just be like, yo, I'm going to train y'all. I got to go back to Bloodhaven, but y'all going to be, I'll be in touch and stuff like that. But no, we just got Bruce Wayne. I guess he was lonely. He was just like, yo, let me get one of these kids. Let me go to an orphanage and just get one of these kids.
Let me adopt more, but young boys.
Yeah. Instead of doing it the old-fashioned way, let me run up in one of these randoms. Say they didn't have a kid. Now I'm gonna go adopt one.
Yeah, instead of finding like, oh, your parents dead, my parents dead too. Come live with me.
And the sad part is, because again, this is in no way, shape, or form tied into the Arrowverse whatsoever.
No, at all.
But the sad part is, it's gonna go down in history as the last CW superhero show, and I'm just like, that's a bad way to go out. I was like,
He went out on a bad leg, bro.
You know what I'm saying? Like, even if because like the Arrowverse, quote unquote, still has a heartbeat with Superman and Lois, because although they trying to act like they on a different Earth, like they're still bringing in Arrowverse characters. Like
Diggle.
Diggle's still on the damn show. You know, like
Somebody finally get Martin Luther Diggle his damn ring to do what he has to
no,
do.
not yet. But Diggle's gonna be in the crossover when Flash resumes. So we got 5 more episodes for him to get the ring.
Well, and here's the thing about the Flash, because I want to just talk about how great season 1 and 2 were. Like, I think those were really probably the best seasons, and I'm hoping, and a lot of people, I've seen a lot of theories online, everybody's kind of hoping that this actually leads to the end of season 1, where you find out that this Flash is an actual Barry that went like this to the other Flash and tell him no. Don't.
Him being the okay.
Yeah,
that would be nice.
That would be the Flash that's actually going back in time, and he's stopping the other Flash from doing Flashpoint. We bring everything back full circle. But so this is what happened to that original timeline. It's been doing this.
Well, yeah, because that's the thing. Like the Flash, I guess the Flash can't end until we get the scene where both he and Eobard Thawne have that race where he goes and kills his mom. Because for the last 9 seasons, we've always seen the scene where his mom dies from the perspective of the new Barry.
Yeah.
We've never seen that scene from the perspective of the old Barry who was doing the chase.
Exactly.
So that would actually that would be cool. I would like to see Iris have this damn baby at some point.
I mean, that's gonna be a given, but that baby better be named Dawn and not Nora.
Well, see, but that's another thing. They're making it seem like because when a show does weird things, when they're just like, oh, baby Nora, because remember they were supposed to have this baby at a certain time.
Yeah.
And then Barry and Iris, they changed it to where they were just like, let's not follow destiny. They had the baby early when they were supposed to. But everybody keeps saying like, oh, baby Nora will be here soon. We're waiting for baby Nora. One day I was like, how we know that's going to be Nora though? Because you conceived earlier than you were supposed to, that might not be Nora. Hell, because remember last season when Nora showed up and then she was just like, hey, your entire family's safe. And he was like, my entire family. Then Bart showed up and then he didn't even know he had a son. I'm like, now he might end up like Diggle, and he might have like 4-5 kids come from the future talking about what up, pops.
Or they
here's the thing: is it Bart a grandson? Because doesn't Bart
not on the TV show?
Yeah, because Bart, because even from which that's why I liked Young Justice. When Bart shows up, he waves to Barrett, like he goes to Iris and he goes, hi auntie such and such, hi auntie Nora, hi uncle such and such. Yeah.
But they didn't do the tornado twins. They haven't done the tornado twins on the Flash.
Yeah, and I was like, that's a better thing because Bart should not be Barry's son. I think Bart is a nephew.
No, that's his son. That's his son. Nora is his oldest child. Bart's his second child.
And on the show, on the show. But like I said, this is why comic book heads get so tight. Because they switch things up so much.
But you want to know why I didn't take him to the woodshed for changing that? Because the kid who they got to play Bart Allen is awesome.
He's good.
He reminds me of the Young Justice impulse.
But that's not an excuse. That's not an excuse anymore because this is the problem I have with them pandering to the non-comic book audience. And I get why you're doing it to get more. It's because I've been in a comic book store where non-comic book readers try to school me on shit you see on TV. Like, don't you dare walk into a comic book store and tell me the lore of what the Flash is. That's like, let me blow your mind real quick and give you some issues to go look at. Like, it's the same thing with Young Justice. Like, I accepted the way Young Justice was changed around, but I look around and go, listen, you do realize the original Young Justice was Superboy, and not the Superboy, the clone, but the clone had like super telekinesis and like Superboy, Bart Allen, and Tim Drake. It wasn't Robin, it was Tim Drake that was the original Young Justice. And they all grew, and then they started to add Wonder Girl. I mean, we had Kid Lobo in what do you call it, in Young Justice at one point. And I mean, then you had your Aqualad, you had everybody else. I mean, as Young Justice, the comic book, got bigger and bigger, they started adding more and more younger characters. I mean, when I say younger characters, I mean these characters were literally kids coming into this and starting up. So I was cool with it because they did such a good job every season making it make sense. But these TV shows don't make it make sense. And I think that's what pisses me off the most.
What's not to make sense about him having a son named
Because he shouldn't be Bart Allen when
named Bartholomew after his father, Bartholomew.
Because you have so many other, like Barry has other kids. Name one of them. I don't watch it just to like. Sometimes I'm like, this bullshit.
I'll have to say though, since we got like 5 minutes left, I want everybody choose their favorite villain from the Arrowverse. Mine's just hands down Reverse Flash. I think Tom Cavanaugh did a phenomenal job those first 2 seasons. Actually, the first season alone, as Harrison Wells.
The whole series, the House of Wells.
Yeah, he killed it, just menacing. I think my favorite scene is when he killed Cisco, and the first season when he killed Cisco, and I say my second favorite scene is when Barry's in that coma and he's just like, "Yo, you're gonna die." Mark my word. It was just, I think hands down he was the best Arrowverse villain, and then I guess second run up will be Deathstroke.
You took it away from me because I was gonna say the best villain out of there was Deathstroke during the whole thing, because he at least, like, from Arrow on, like, he was menacing. Like, I kind of believed he could whoop anybody's ass in the entire Arrowverse. So I have to go with him. My second runner up with that, if I want to say, damn sure wouldn't be the dude was in the chair with Arrow.
You mean the Thinker?
Yeah, the Thinker was just.
Oh, good lord, that's a horrible season.
My favorite season of Flash was actually the Nora season. But go ahead.
Yeah. I'll agree with that. I think what's his name? That was the blue the one he was fighting. What was it? What season was it where he was trying to fight the version of himself that was bad?
Oh, Saboteur.
Oh, yeah, Saboteur.
Yeah, Saboteur.
Season 3.
Yeah, Saboteur was pretty good. So I'm gonna go with Slate and Saboteur with those two. But yeah, I agree. The Nora season was really good. That kind of invigorated me to watch it again. The actress, even though she was from a series that I used to call Black Sails, she was a very good Nora.
And she looked, and she honestly looked like she could have came out of Grant Gustin and Candace Patton.
Yeah,
which was scary. For me, I like you're not talking about which show's best villain. You talk about the entire
Arrowverse, yeah.
Shit. I honestly have to say Prometheus because
I was say that too.
But the reason why I say Prometheus is because they didn't win that season. like Prometheus was so good. He had Oliver chained up in a basement to the point where Oliver had to reveal his deepest, darkest sins and tell the truth about himself. And then after Prometheus got him to admit that he enjoys killing, Prometheus had him dead to rights. He didn't kill him. He didn't destroy him. He didn't put him on Front Street. He just uncuffed him and let him go home. And Oliver was so internally defeated by how Prometheus emotionally defeated him. He went back to the bunker, to the Arrow Cave, and he just shut it down. There was 4 episodes where they were begging him to unlock the door. He was like, no. He was like, nah, that's over. It was like Prometheus has my nuts on his dresser drawer, it's a wrap. and then to make it worse, when he finally when Oliver finally is like, you know what, fuck that, this is still my show, damn it, and I'm about to go put some respect on my name. Prometheus did the one thing that I don't think any villain could have done throughout the entire Arrowverse. He killed one of the major Arrowverse characters of all time, the Island. Oh. He killed the Island.
Didn't he kill his baby mama too?
Huh?
Didn't he kill his baby mama?
Yeah, he killed his baby mama on the island because we spent 5 years talking about, I've been trapped on an island for 5 years. I haven't been around women for 5 years. The island, 5 years, the island. This motherfucker blew up the island. Season 5, and like when season 5 ended and Oliver saved his son, you were like, oh, thank God, because Prometheus tortured him. The entire for 23 episodes, Oliver finally got his revenge. Nope, motherfucker blew up the island, and every single cast member on that show was on that island when he blew that shit up. And I was like, wow. This guy died and he still beat you. Number 2, you know got beat Tobias Whale.
You know what? Not bad, Jerrell. You're absolutely right. Tobias Wells should have been number 1 for all of us. He should have been number 1 for every single one of us.
It gotta be, because without Tobias Wells, who's gonna tell us what's wrong with these Negroes?
I really forgot about you know what? I gotta change it. It's got to be Slade and Tobias Wells. That man is a gem. That is the brightest spot of this whole Arrowverse.
Mm-hmm. I'll ask Al one quick question.
Yeah,
I don't know if Sean will know this because I don't know how you were with Supergirl, but Justin, you might know this.
Yeah,
who took the bigger ass whooping from a villain? Was it Barry when Zoom dragged his dead carcass throughout the city and held him up for all the people to see on live TV? Was it Supergirl when she got bodied by rain and dropped off of a building? Or was it Oliver when he fought Ra's al Ghul and Ray stabbed him and kicked him off?
Honestly,
which hero took the biggest ass whooping?
I'm honestly, that Zoom one was fucking brutal. Like, broke my man's back and everything. Like, Zoom was beating him while holding him in speed.
He beat him in flash time.
Yeah, like, I'm gonna go with the Zoom fight because the Zoom fight I still watch to this day. That's like the Arrow one. I would have gave it to because he got stabbed, but that stab looked so fake it took me out. But the Supergirl, like, that was,
she got her ass beat.
She got
that's what I was gonna say. That's my choice. She got mollywopped. Yo, she when you talk about on site, like, she dragged her.
Because it was crazy because she has superpower, but like when she started bleeding, I was like, wait, hold on. I was like, hold on for a second. And then when she threw her off the building and somebody was like, is she dead? I was like, yeah, she dead.
Yeah, but the disrespect of Zoom to just have Barry up there like, yo, this is your hero.
No, like Zoom was more like disrespect, like you laughing about how disrespectful it is. With Supergirl, you honestly were like scared for this woman. Because she was in a coma for like they came back from Christmas break, she was still in a coma.
Yeah, I mean,
they had to send Brainiac 5 into her brain to pull her out of the coma.
Like, Supergirl, Arrow was dead. Supergirl was in a coma.
Should have been
Barry was in a wheelchair.
Mind was fucked up.
Yeah, like Barry. They said Barry got his speed back 3 weeks ago. He said he want to use it. He was too afraid to use it.
Like, yo, I swear to God, like, I felt like the Zoom fight was the opening line of fucking Tupac's diss song to Biggie. Like, it was like, that's why I fucked your bitch. Like, it just went off on him. I was like, damn, bro. Like,
he took him to various places, whipped his ass there. Like, he went to different locations, whipped his ass so people could see, and then bring him to the police station with cameras. Like, yo, this your hero right here.
And then just threw him on.
Yeah. That's kind of like Black Panther. Is this your king? This who you love? Like, yo, like, come on.
Y'all ain't have to do him like that. And ever since those three, like, no other hero after that took those levels of like an ass whoop. Like Black Lightning lost a couple of fights, but he ain't take that Zoom ass whooping. You know what I'm saying? Like Superman got beat up, but he ain't take that Supergirl ass whooping. Like, the
only thing Black Lightning took was Tobias Whale's verbal. Like, every time, like, you was just like, yo, bro, why you letting him talk to you like that? Like,
what do you call him? The chocolate covered Incredibles?
Yeah, he said like, his family's the chocolate covered Incredibles.
Yo, when he said that, yo, I turned the TV off and walked outside.
He called him a ghetto glowworm. Like,
yo, I sat down for a second. I said, this man literally looked him right in the face and said, you in the chocolate covered Incredible. I was like, that is so disrespectful, bro. And you letting him still sit there?
It's like,
No, okay.
It's like, yo, like before we go, it's just like, who was in that writing room? Just like,
I have
yo,
no idea.
what
Like
insults
whoever
can
was
we
in that
do
writers
about black folks?
like because they had the one, and that this shit still makes me laugh to this day. And I think it was season 2 when Khalil and Jennifer were on the run, and Tobias had hired that black woman with the poison to go get him, and then she tried to go get him, and then she failed the first time, and then she called Tobias. And he was like, "You supposed to bring her ass back here. What happened?" She was like, "You ain't telling me they had powers and everything." And she was like, "Well, you got to pay me more money if you want me to bring him in." He hangs up the phone and goes, "This is why I don't hire black people." To this day, that shit makes me, every time I see that shit makes me laugh. He's like, "This is why I don't hire black people."
Yo, and the saddest thing is, like, every time I seen Tobias Wells, I'm like, yo, it's like season 1 of Black Lightning, where it's like, you're not supposed to, like, there's a lot of things you do in the black community, but you do not show a scene of somebody killing somebody's mama.
Yeah, he's like, you shot somebody's mama.
Like, you shot somebody's mama, and then the thing is, like, you know it was bad when Tobias Wells was
exactly. Yeah, right.
Bro, you shot somebody's mama, nah, bro. Like, yo, you gotta
That's
go.
You got to die.
You gotta go, bro. Like, you shot somebody's mama.
Like, just a code I live by.
Yeah, right. It's like, you have a code. He's like, see, that's what's wrong with black people. Everybody want to go to heaven, but nobody want to die.
Yep, exactly.
Like, somebody needs to make a compilation of like Tobias Whale insults to the black community. Because even when they said Tobias, because he had the serum that was keeping him young, but the public didn't know that. A reporter said, Tobias Whale, like, how do you manage to still look so good at this age? He said, because unlike the rest of the black community, I stay away from chicken and watermelon.
Yo. I forgot the actor that's playing him. Yeah, that man deserved an Oscar every season.
Emmy at least.
Every season he was on.
Like, if one of us ever interviews him, somebody please ask him who wrote that shit.
And if it's even worse. If here's the thing, like, I'll applaud him more if he was like, "Nah, I wrote my own lines." I'd be like, "Oh, boy." Yo, bro, you're a genius.
Yeah, I'm gonna miss the Arrowverse.
Let's give our final thoughts before we head out of here. I'll pass it to Sean. Your final thoughts on the end of the Arrowverse, your reflections.
End of the Arrowverse, like I said earlier, I give it, 4 stars out of 5 because it entertained me for many seasons. Like I said, it always started strong, ended a little weak, but that's any show out there. It starts very good, and then like somebody kind of dials it in into the last episode, which we're hoping that doesn't happen with the Flash. But
yeah,
give it 4 stars and say, like, it's gonna be years from now, we're gonna probably look back and say, "Damn, man, remember the greatest?" It'll all probably be Tobias Whales, but like, damn, the Arrowverse was good. So that's my thought.
Jerrell, I'll save you for last. But because you're more in tune to it. For me, I like Sean. I'm gonna give this. I'm actually gonna give it 4.5 out of 5 stars. I thought they did, like I said earlier when Jerrell popped out. They did something for TV that Marvel did for the movies, and that was to show that you can do a whole superhero universe and manage to do crossovers. And TV is harder to do. Especially with everybody's schedules. I mean, you can watch interviews, read interviews with these actors, and they'll tell you how, as much as the fans love the crossover, it's one of the hardest things to film because everybody has the different styles of directing and acting and things of that nature.
And then they're shooting their own show at the same time.
Exactly, and doing their own show at the same time. It had its ups, it had its downs. It had more ups to me. They were able to bring in characters that really didn't get that much burn, shed some light on them. Obviously, I would have loved to see that. I think it would have been way better if they had this Superman and Lois budgets for all the shows. That type of writing as well. I think as time progressed, the writing got a little bit worse, dialogue. I think, but I'm hoping, like my theory is correct, that they are going to end the Flash with the original timeline, explain what happened to the original Barry. And I'm hoping it ends on a strong suit and not just, oh my God, this is the last of the Arrowverse. We gotta give everybody their roses and by sacrificing the season of the Flash.
Yeah.
Hoping that doesn't happen. But overall, man, it's been a hell of a ride.
Yes, sir.
And we'll see what happens next for DC TV. Jerrell, take us out.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I gotta give it a 5 out of 5 because without the Arrowverse, I wouldn't have a YouTube channel. You know what I'm saying? Like, my YouTube channel started because I found out that they were gonna end Arrow, and I was like, damn, like Arrow's my shit. And I started the YouTube channel reviewing the final season of Arrow as a way to say goodbye to the show, because that's how much, like I was into it. And then I just kept going by doing Titans and Supergirl and everything else. Like I said, like I wouldn't have a YouTube channel if it wasn't for the Arrowverse. And they gave me all my characters. Like they gave me characters that I loved that I didn't even know that I liked. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of unanswered questions in the Arrowverse, things that came up that never got answered. But there were things that, like you said, there were seasons where nothing's ever going to be 100%. There's always gonna be things that don't work for you, but even the stuff that didn't work wasn't enough. There was still something entertaining about it, and it wasn't enough for me to be like, oh, to hell with this, because they always brought me back. Like even though I was down on season 4 of Arrow, we're doing the magic thing. In season 5, they brought it back to to what it used to be with Prometheus, and then we were right back to where it started. The only and they got one more chance to put the ring on Diggle, and if they put the ring on Diggle, like you can't tell me nothing about the Arrowverse. But from Arrow to Flash to Supergirl to Black Lightning to Legends to Batwoman. Naomi, Stargirl, like the Arrowverse got me into Stargirl. You know what I'm saying? Like they got me into Stargirl.
Yeah, Stargirl season 1 was good, but I think they started just really dialing it in the last 2 seasons.
Like when Stargirl first got announced, I was like, I don't know about this. And when I watched the first episode, I was like, once I got to episode 2, I was like, this is actually really good. I'm like, yeah, got me into freaking Stargirl. For Christ's sake, I said, like you got me into a Black Batwoman, like TV series. Like I said, and I like Naomi. Like I like the direction, like you said, the crossovers, everything in between. So it's a 5 for me. Like if you're gonna do superhero television, damn it, that's how you do superhero television.
All right, and folks, we are gonna be out of here. Jerrell, by the way, plug in your YouTube channel.
Yes, sir. It is Red Eyes Entertainment on YouTube, where I got my episode 7 review of Titans on the channel. My Superman and Lois review is coming probably tomorrow. Then episode 8 of Titans is after that. And then after that, we're taking a break until The Flash resumes, and Superman and Lois reviews on the 25th and 26th. Though we will still be doing Titans because both Flash and Titans only have 5 episodes left. And we will review all 5 of these episodes until it's over while we wait for Doom Patrol.
All right. And Sean, anything plug in?
Not very much right now. I'm a bit of a hiatus other than doing stuff for OG. Beer and Goods is making a comeback. We're kind of working out the episodes. Like we'll film an episode, we don't kind of like it until we get our mojo back. It's the same thing with Chronicles. We'll see what's up, and then I think coming soon I'm gonna start something that's for me on my own, and I'll keep everybody posted on it. But other than that, like, hey, listen, check me out here on otakusgeeks.com.
Yeah, and of course, for us here at ONG, you can check out our Spring Anime 2023 reviews. Some brilliant anime coming out right now, so definitely check that out. And you can check out the complete season of UWL Season 1. Thank you for all those who joined Eye of the Throne. We were very, very happy with the numbers and everything else, so that was cool. And Season 2 is coming later on, late spring, early summer, so stay tuned for that. As you guys can, if you follow our ONG Instagram, you see that we're working on it with 2K23, so be on the lookout for that. We have more essential anime on the way, more Otakus Geeks 10. Stay tuned. The next 10 episode is going to be the top 10 wrestling games, so stay tuned for that video. And that's it. We'll catch you on the next one. Thank you for joining us for the hour. Nadia will be back for the next episode, and it's going to be a fun one, so we'll catch you later. Later days. Peace.
Thank you for joining us for Otakus and Geeks, The Hour. Support the podcast by hitting the like and subscribe buttons. For more on Justin, you can check out imaginativevisions.com. For more on Nadia, you can check out gothamgeekgirl.com. For more on Sean, check out his podcast, It's Chronicles, on Anchor FM. For more on Jerrell, check out his YouTube channel, Red Eyes Entertainment. Later days.